Were you ever asked to debate Dawkins or Hitchens back in the day? Or have you been since?
No, I mean, the closest that I came was to debate, I think it's the Richard Dawkins Foundation, some guy who was headed that. I think that's what it's called. And that was
I'm surprised.
That was like a radio debate. And it was so stupid. I had no desire to do that. It was this, I go in there, sort of wanting to focus on one or two things, because what are you going to do in an hour on the radio,
Yeah.
And this guy came out with a battery of the kind of stuff you were referring to earlier as the kind of, the list of grievances, well, Christianity's sexist, it's racist, it persecuted people, blah, blah, blah. We don't need God. All we need is evolution, all this kind of thing. I was, well, let's focus on one thing. He didn't want to do that. So I just...
what is your opinion of Alex O'Connor, Cosmic Skeptic? You were on his show.
Yeah.
How did that go? What do you have any thoughts about him?
It went well. I thought to me, it seemed he was interested in trying to understand. We talked about what I call the Aristotelian proof, which is my version of an argument you see in Aristotle and Aquinas and Maimonides and lots of other Aristotelians historically. And I think the episode was like an hour and a half or something like that. And so we kind of pursued that in some depth. And to me, it seemed he was interested in really trying to understand it. And he raised objections to it. That's fine. And we discussed those. And I explained why I didn't think they were compelling objections. But as far as I can tell certainly from that interview, from that engagement, he struck me as a serious inquirer.
Yeah, I really like him. He seems like he's become a sort of bridge from the rah-rah new atheists to the more kind of thinking, self-critical kind of guys. So, yeah, very good. Do you do debates, or would you do debates if it was presented, or do you...
what I have done is probably, you could better describe them as exchanges or discussions. So with Graham Oppy, for example, is probably the most important.
Tell us about that, because I remember 5 minutes in, maybe it was like an hour in, and it felt like for an hour you were talking about a stool, and I'm like, I'm too stupid to listen to this, and I went and watched cat videos. Yeah,
we had two exchanges on Cameron Bertuzzi's
Capturing Christianity channel.
Yeah, Capturing Christianity channel, and I enjoyed them very much. And
how familiar were you with Oppy's work prior to that?
Oh, very familiar.
Okay.
Yeah. And I take him very seriously. He's a good guy. He's a very smart guy. He's well informed. He doesn't attack caricatures. He may get arguments wrong sometimes, but that's different from attacking a caricature. He's trying to, even when I think that he's just getting Aquinas wrong or getting me wrong or whatever. I'm never, have any doubt that he's trying to address what he thinks the argument is. So he's an intellectually honest guy. And he's a serious philosopher. And so, I've been familiar with his work for a while. And so we had a couple nice exchanges on that. But I would say they were exchanges. They were discussions. It wasn't two egos trying to make the other guy look bad.
That must be refreshing.
Totally, yeah. And it was not a matter of working through a number of debating points that are going to, this will be red meat for the crowd or something like that. It wasn't like that at all. It was a couple guys having a conversation, a couple philosophers having a conversation. And I think that was very, very fruitful. I like doing that kind of thing. I've done that before.
This sounds like a cheap question. Like, did you learn anything as if you have to say yes? I don't mean that to be that way, but did you? I mean, were there positions he held or nuances to his positions that you found that you hadn't thought through or didn't quite know how to respond to?
I wouldn't say that. I would say, especially in our second exchange, it became a little clearer to me, something I think I already knew, but it was even clearer from the way he was approaching it, that the way Oppy approaches philosophical inquiry is a bit different from the way I do. I mean, I would say my approach is pretty traditional. What I'm interested in finding out is finding out what's true, and I think philosophy can do that. Now, I think Graham wants to find out what's true. I'm not denying that he does as well. But he probably, I would say, has less confidence about the power of reason to arrive at kind of a settled, confident metaphysics. So that philosophy, I think for him, and I don't want to mischaracterize him, but I certainly got the sense of this from our second exchange. It's more a matter of systematizing and working through the implications of positions you might take and seeing how they cohere with one another and seeing where an argument might lead you. But if you're more inclined to this opposite position, working out what sort of argument you might find to justify it and how you might answer another argument. But where the end result of this is not necessarily something that you could put forward as this is the right result, and certainly not this is the right result that we can basically count as knowledge and put it on the shelf among things that should be known and passed on to the next generation. And I have a much more, I would say, traditional and ambitious sort of conception of what philosophy is capable of achieving than that. Now, I knew that about him, but I think that just came out because so much of that second exchange, and some viewers complained about this and others were, I think, gratified by it, but a lot of it was kind of laying the foundations to the discussion, discussing, it was kind of meta level, like what exactly is an argument trying to accomplish? What is a philosophical argument? What's its aim? Before we even got into the question of God's existence.
That makes sense. Yeah, well. Hey, thank you so much for watching. Before you go, do us a favor, leave a comment, let us know what you thought of the video, like, and subscribe.